Up with Jordan and Ron.
Hi, welcome to Hooking Up with Jordan and Ron. I'm Jordan.
I'm Ron, and we have an interesting episode for you today. We have with us Eric, and Eric and Jordan are friends and have been friends and weren't friends and are friends again. But anyway, we're going to get to that. How did you two meet?
We were lucky enough, I think it was a great working experience, to work at Rolling Hills Water Park, which is part of like the public parks of Michigan. And it's down in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Is it? Yeah, Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti. Yeah, it's a county park, I think.
A county park. Okay. And I was the assistant manager of the concession stand. So Julie, I forget her last name. You probably remember, was the manager. And then I was the assistant manager. And then there were 4 or 5 young men under 18, 19 years old that I think I was 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Something that was right. It was like
you
freshman
were older than us.
year.
Yeah, your freshman year of college, and we were like juniors in high school.
Yeah, the summer between. And a bunch of my friends worked as quote unquote park rangers.
Oh my goodness.
Which means they just rode around on the golf cart, checking everything out all day and had the best time. And we were in the concession stand all together.
We ate a lot of hot dogs.
We did, and chips.
Oh, I bet.
We smelled like hot dogs after.
One funny tip you gave us as younger men was
Oh my gosh.
for dating is to buy a fossil watch. Have a nice one.
Oh my God. That sounds so like perfect.
Oh my gosh, 1999. Oh my gosh, revisit.
And we did.
1999.
And
Yeah.
And you bought them?
People appreciated the watches.
Wow.
Maybe it
Oh.
wasn't for dating, but just
as like growing up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you had a nice watch, but it didn't necessarily get you any hookups.
No.
Yeah.
But I always knew what time it was.
But there you go.
This was
Excellent.
before cell phones. So
Okay.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
true.
I could only look at my pager to
Yeah.
know what time it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
It was a fun time. And like everyone in the group of us was different, but you and I connected on music like right away,
Absolutely.
I think, right?
Yeah, I remember you played songs for me like Boston More Than a Feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Which-
Well, we had CDs. So it was all
Yeah.
CDs. So you could exchange CDs,
Mhm.
you know, and
And you'd curate great music. And I learned a
Thanks.
lot from that. And I think to this day, I probably still listen to artists you introduced me
thanks.
to.
Oh, yeah. Well, we made that mix once on Spotify, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
road
Yeah,
trip
I still
mix
listen to
or
that
something.
occasionally.
Yeah.
We had
Fun.
Spotify back then? I guess we did.
No,
Yeah.
recently when we recently.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, so you guys met in 1999.
Yeah.
Right? And then what?
So we were buddies for a while, number of years, and you visited me once, and I don't know, we had some kind of disagreement and kind of disconnected, and then we reconnected in Chicago, but through like 4 or 5 degrees of separation, right?
Yeah.
We were
so-
talking about this
yeah.
yesterday.
For me, it was a friend of a friend and then his sister. And
It
I
was my friend Christina,
Yeah, and
who's
I-
friends with my
Yep.
friend Jen from the Old Town School of Music. Again, a music connection brought us together.
Yeah, and I saw you on her Facebook feed, and I
Yeah.
thought,
Oh my gosh.
well, it's been at least 15 years, and
I
I can pretty much forgive anybody for anything after 15
Sure.
years, unless it's murder, because then I
I
wouldn't be
know.
able to
I don't know.
forgive them.
Maybe I could even that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't had the
It's a
opportunity.
small world after all.
But I'm really glad I did. I actually think I saw you around Chicago once or twice.
I thought I did too, but I was like nervous about it.
And I
you know?
also thought, no way.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do get the doppelganger moment fairly often with people where I think there's someone and I'll approach them and everything, and most of the time it's not the person. Just by the way, for those of you that have that encounter, most of the times you think someone is someone, it is not them.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
that's the
especially
advantages of being an
celebrities.
extrovert, right? You can just go up and
You're
talk
just
to
like,
anybody.
"Hey," and
Yeah.
they're like, no.
Yeah, no, sorry, not me. Yeah. So 15 years you
Mhm.
were out of contact, and now you got back in contact.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric, where are you now? Are you still in Chicago or?
My wife and I, we moved during the pandemic to Houston, and then recently to Austin, Minnesota, which is pretty rural, and it's different for us because we're used to living in big cities.
Yeah.
And so now we're living in kind of a rural, small town area. We know everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere we go, you run into people.
That's interesting because certainly, growing up here in Southeast Michigan, which is not really rural, although there's, splotches of it.
Sure.
And then living in places like Houston and Chicago, and what's it like to move to a smaller town?
It's interesting. I will tell you, no one's invited me in their house yet until now.
Oh, that's
We're
interesting.
going
So they're
over.
friendly,
Yeah,
but it's not intimate.
exactly. Well said.
Interesting.
Well
Okay.
said. Overall, everyone's really nice.
Okay.
I haven't made a lot of friends my age. A lot of my friends, we moved there for my wife's job, and they're her peers
Mm-hmm.
or coworkers, and that's so far been how I've connected with people.
Sure.
But it's been good. I'm glad. Like I always think to have new experiences, you have to get a little bit uncomfortable.
Of course.
And so by doing things I might not necessarily be excited about, I
Yep.
get to experience all sorts of new things.
That's interesting. Now, is there anything unusual about that kind of rural setting? I mean, where do people socialize? What do people do? Where do they meet each other?
Right. I think there's a lot of community events. At least that's how we've been involved is the United Way fundraiser. There was a fundraiser last weekend for a group that helps people with mental disabilities.
Oh,
Interesting.
And so that's how we've connected. And also because of my wife's job, we need to make a presence in the community.
Sure.
We also enjoy it. So I think for us, we would do it anyway. And so there's a lot more of that than we're used to in like Houston and Chicago, where you're not as much as part of an intimate community like that.
Right.
Like,
right.
you can
Well,
still
there's
be
so
involved,
much
but
going
it's not
on.
as intimate.
Yeah. In a big
Right,
city,
right.
there's like more than you need to do.
Yeah. I really miss like big live music concerts.
Yeah.
But there is a music scene. There's like it's folk
Oh,
country. It's kind of its own thing, and there's a circuit of people that go around to
Local?
breweries and bars. Yeah,
oh,
kind of like Minnesota.
you could be part of that.
I could. I'm not sure if I fit in or not
Okay.
yet, but I may try. But
Yeah.
I have a good songwriter I'll send to you later who's part of that circuit.
Cool.
He's great.
So Eric's also a musician and was in a band was it when you were at Ferris State in college? Or?
Yeah, I played in a few bands, and college was probably my best run. And then right after college, I was in a band called The Singles, and we toured around and played South by Southwest. Before I was in
cool.
the band,
Oh, I didn't know that.
they were reviewed by Rolling Stone. They got a 3-star.
Wow.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
That means like meeting expectations in performance reviews.
Yeah,
That's good.
absolutely. It's like I think my dream hasn't come true sometimes, but then I'm like, well, it kind of did.
3 is
right?
pretty good,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Right. Well, yeah. So we all have phases, So we have like the music phase and the life phase, the marriage phase, the breakup phase, or whatever. Right.
The podcast phase.
The podcast phase. That's where we are right now. Huh?
our era.
Surprise, surprise. This is our era. It's the podcast phase. I love that. We're going to call it that. Yeah. Do you think that you'll get re-involved with music in where you live now?
Yeah, right now I'm working on my own music thanks to technology. I was always a bass player or a guitar player, and I hid in the back. And now I'm realizing, well, I have something to offer by myself. I never thought I would be a songwriter, singer, frontman.
Yeah.
So I'm working on an album with an audio engineer. And
Oh, very cool.
once it's finished, I'm going to launch myself as an artist, and I have to figure out how to do that.
Wow.
And my goal is I'd like to play shows for like 30 people.
Sure.
Right.
And that my friends can come and have fun.
Yeah.
Right. You'll have to check out the career of like Phineas, who wrote
yeah.
for his sister and
Oh,
Billie
yeah.
Eilish, and now has got his own career. And he did the same thing, I believe. He started recording at home, and
Oh, is his music different from hers?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes there's very much crossover, and sometimes it's very much kind of neurotic Phineas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of relationship music, breakup music.
Oh.
It's interesting. He's a good writer.
Okay.
So yeah, but anyway, he kind of started the same way. I mean, he wrote the big studio splashy stuff for her, but then
Sure.
worked on his own music, and now he's
Wow.
off. Well, playing the Fillmore in February.
Oh, cool.
So that's exciting. So what does your wife do?
My wife's chief communications officer, so she's
So she gets to meet
She has a big
everybody.
job.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And helps the company she works for and previous companies have a good presence, right? In the
Yeah,
community
and I
and
think-
good image. And
one, she's great at business. 2, she's a great person, and I think what she brings to the company and the community and the employees, she's able to have a lot of influence and sway. And obviously, you can't control and influence everything, but I think she's going to touch so many people's lives through.
yep.
Now, do you still stay in touch with any of the folks back here in the Ann Arbor area, Ypsilanti area?
Not as much. A lot of people have moved on, moved
Mm-hmm.
out of
Hmm.
town, and also when I come back, time is limited, so I tend to
Sure.
spend it with family.
Is Steve still around?
Steve is still around, our friend from the concession stand.
Yeah.
He's
He's so
doing
fun.
he's
He's
doing
so
great.
smart. What is his job? Like, I forget what he was studying.
I think he's like a PR or brand manager for in automotive, and he's doing really great.
Cool.
He
He
has
and
a
Eric, the
yeah.
other Eric. There were two Erics in the
Eric with a
stand.
K and
Eric
Eric
with
with
a
an E.
K. Yeah. He's also super smart. Not that we're not, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. You know, when people like really stand out, is like, whoa, they're
He
gonna
ended
Yeah.
up
that
being a
person's gonna do
Navy
stuff.
officer, if you can believe
Whoa.
that.
Oh, wow.
Good for him.
Wow. Well, there's a career in that.
Impressive.
That's really impressive.
Wow.
Um,
And from college and beyond, like, have you maintained a lot of friendships or more so made new friends? Like,
Yeah,
tell
I
us a
think
little bit about that journey.
it's been a great journey, and I think I keep in touch and connect with people where I
Yeah.
can, and it's really exciting. A lot of my close friends that I briefly did Peace Corps. I won't say I was a Peace Corps
Oh,
volunteer
I
because
didn't know that.
I left early, right? I was there
Okay.
for like 6 weeks and I left. I was kind of depressed, and
Oh,
um,
yeah.
I kind of wish I would have stayed, but you're supposed to stay there for 27 months, so I didn't really do it. But my friends from training are
Yeah.
some of my best friends.
Oh my
Or
gosh.
nice.
So even from that brief period.
yeah,
Wow.
and they're super interesting
Okay.
people because
Did they
they're
stay
very
the whole
worldly.
run, the
And they
27?
stayed the
Okay.
whole run in Africa. They lived in Ghana, and
Wow.
they're
Wow.
all doing interesting things now. They're very compassionate people, and
Cool.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
But other places. Well, my dad's the oldest of 10 siblings. I could tell.
Oh,
So
wow.
some of my cousins are my best friends.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So you have the family connections.
Yeah, family
Uh-huh.
connections. Every time I move somewhere or I'm visiting, I like to look up who's there, and even if it's a loose connection, hey, do you want to have coffee for
Totally.
30
Oh, that's
minutes?
exciting.
Yeah.
And then sometimes
It's
you
a great
get a
idea.
deep connection out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's exciting. Yeah, I'm an introvert energy wise, but I love just connecting with
Mm-hmm.
people
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
and realizing you don't have to be best friends,
No.
but just to have
It's
that little
hard though.
connection can be
Right.
very
Yeah.
rewarding.
Right, to have
Yeah.
those acquaintanceships and
Yeah.
friends. Yeah, I have a lot of those. I have a very small, like intimate circle, and I
Yeah.
have a
Mhm.
very, very, very large acquaintance,
Yeah.
circle, and I love that because there's always someone to touch base with,
Mm.
dinner with, talk to, do things with,
Mhm.
but not if you don't want to. If you want that
Yeah.
private time at home,
Mhm.
you don't have to.
That's true. That's true. I need that time to sometimes I'll overload myself and realize, okay, I need a few days alone to just be with my
Mhm.
Oh
cats.
yeah.
No one else, just TV, cats, maybe cooking, chilling out.
It's important to know when you need to recharge and
Mhm.
be able to take that time
Mhm.
to do it.
Like I have a conference for work coming up this week and I'm sort of a little anxious like, okay, I got to really be mindful of those days, 3 solid days of big socializing, big crowds, standing all day. Just these elements of extroversion that play a role in work or personal life.
So
Yeah.
then you can't plan anything huge the night you come home. You need to just
Oh, I
chill.
need to totally.
yeah.
Yeah. I might have a date. We'll see. But
Okay,
yeah.
so that ruins that. Just
Well,
chill
I
on the
think
night
okay,
home.
but I'm probably I'm gonna be in Grand Rapids. I'll probably take a nap before.
Can a date be
Yeah.
kind of relaxing and chill for you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to this one.
so then you have to have a chill date. It can't be
right,
like
nothing
going
crazy.
to a club or
No, yeah, I won't do one of my like, let's go here now. Let's go here now. Let's do that. Like,
Unless you're having a
oh,
great
it's
time.
1
and
a.m. Oh my gosh, I
re-energized.
can't believe it.
Yeah, so that's fun. That's really fun too. So, Eric, where do you see what's the next step
Mm,
for you?
It's interesting. I'm playing a new role, kind of supporting my wife
Mhm.
at home and pursuing my creative interests, and trying to figure out how I want to use my skills and people, my passions in the world in a constructive way. So I'm gonna start substitute teaching here, which
mhm.
I don't know if that's it
Wow.
or not, but I'm just gonna try it. And I think
I think that would be so interesting.
mostly from the angle of I can be just a positive influence there for
Absolutely.
kids, and maybe I can inspire
Yep.
them with something I've learned.
Yep.
That's really exciting. That opens a whole new social circle as well once you
Mhm.
start looking at
Yeah.
that world of education and parents and meetings
Mhm.
and ending up doing extracurricular activities and all
Yeah.
that other
And
kind of
hopefully,
stuff.
as a substitute, I won't have to interact with the parents too much, which
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
imagine is a very difficult
That's probably the
part.
most difficult,
Yeah.
like diplomacy element of
Yeah.
teaching these days. I feel like I'd enjoy substitute teaching, or I don't know, maybe teaching some other class, like media theory or theater, or I don't know. I think I'd enjoy that, like mentee mentor dynamic versus parent child dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love that kind of stuff. I used to do a lot of
Yeah.
like directing of youth theater and things like
Right.
that. I sort of, I would say starting about 6, 7 years ago, I would cut that off. It's just like,
Yeah.
because it's impossible to work with kids for me without getting involved with the parents. And I just can't stand dealing with the
Oh,
parents.
just
at
a lot
all.
of opinions.
Yeah, well, the world has changed. The student is never wrong.
Wow.
They are absolutely never wrong. The parent
Not
is,
even a learning moment.
oh, and they will come down on you at anything, and they
that's
start
too
complaining
bad.
about my daughter should have been the lead and she should have been doing this. And I mean, to some degree, you've always had stage mothers and
Of
things like
course.
that, but it's very different now.
Is
It's
it?
like just
That's
this
too bad.
constant
That's awful.
hovering, watching everything.
Okay.
And if your kid can't memorize lines, it's not their problem, it's your problem, and all those kinds of things. I won't work
Wow.
with kids anymore.
Interesting.
But teaching, I think, is different, especially
Yeah.
substitute teaching, which is, I think, really exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Go in there, teach, share your knowledge and enthusiasm, and
Right.
maybe it'll spark
I
some
think
kid
I'm
to
in
do
an
something cool.
interesting situation where, well, it's like I could do anything. What do I want to do?
Right.
It's a harder question to answer than you would think.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why I hit you with it, right? What's the
Yeah,
next
and,
step? What do you do now?
And I really, I mean, I think, Jordan, you share this with me. You're a creative person, right?
Mhm.
I never thought of myself as an artist, but I'm realizing, oh, maybe as a kid I should have been encouraged to be an artist rather than
Oh.
playing sports and doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm
'Cause
very.
you played soccer, right?
I did soccer.
Yeah.
I'm still a runner.
Okay.
I love running long distances, but yeah, it's like I'd like to focus on creative pursuits. But
Sure.
what does that mean? Is it documentary film?
There's
Is
so
it
many different
writing? Is
ways.
it poetry? Is it
I
music?
consider this creative.
Yeah, well, this
I
is
was thinking
absolutely
about it the
creative.
other day
Yeah,
that this is
absolutely.
a creative because we're expressing ourselves, engaging with others, creating something.
I mean, it's a
right?
show. We're putting on a show.
Sure, we're putting on a show.
And I'm
Yeah.
feeling
But it's
that
real.
right now.
It's
Like,
IRL.
You're on
contributes-
stage.
Yeah, it contributes to my artistic search or whatever.
Awesome.
Oh, for
awesome.
sure. Maybe that's what we should title this episode: Finding Your Artistic Self.
Hooking up with Jordan and Rob.
Oh,
and
yay!
Eric.
And Eric. There we go. Perfect. Well, we'd love to have you on again sometime because
I want to hear how the story goes. I also
Yeah.
want to come visit you guys. This town sounds interesting. There's parts of it that sound like a Hallmark movie.
I always
know-
want people to visit.
Yeah.
Rob, you're welcome to visit
Ron.
too.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
my entire life I've gone through
I'm
life being
so
called
sorry.
Rob.
If
Don't
I-
worry about
And
it.
it's your second
Okay.
name.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just.
I'm embarrassed. Has
Don't
anyone
be-
done that on the podcast yet?
No, but that's okay.
No,
Okay.
no. They tend to, think before they speak.
Whoa, but I'm fun.
You know,
No. I honestly, no. I don't care. I've like people. There are people I've known like half my life here in Ann
Yeah.
Arbor that still
Okay.
call me different names.
Yeah,
you know,
people
so-
just spell my name.
I do always enjoy a good roast. Like, I feel like if
Oh,
someone
really?
sings me good, I deserve it. Probably.
Okay. Ron's good at that.
Oh yeah, I think
tell
I'm
you.
pretty good at
Keep
that.
me
Tell
going.
you what
Keep it-
for.
I should be a stand-up comic. No. Yeah, actually, I love stand-up comedy. I don't think I'd be good at doing it, though. I would probably be really good at doing crowd work, where you start like
Like a
talking
hype
to
man
people in
and-
the,
Yeah,
in the
MC,
audience. and-
totally.
yeah, well,
Rod, Roddy.
starting to pick on
There's
people in
another
the
one,
first
Rod. Her name
row,
could be Rod.
Yeah.
Ron.
Rod, I could be Rod.
Rob.
Rod. There we go.
Yes.
Well, Eric, it's been great having you on today with us.
I had a blast.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, maybe we can have you back. And Jordan, if you go visit, you can hear about how things went in the small town
we could
of
even
Austin,
we recorded live
Minnesota.
from Austin, Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Oh, you could record.
be fun.
Yeah, you absolutely
I've got
could.
audio equipment there.
Whoa, this is an idea.
Oh,
I
there you
like
go.
This.
We'll do
I like this.
Yeah.
So when you think about friendship in general, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think makes you a good friend?
Yeah, it's something I've learned over the years. I think I'm patient and I'm understanding that we're all human. Too often, I think people expect their friends, to never hurt them or never make a
Wow.
mistake.
Sure.
And the reality is, we're all made of the same stuff. We're all going to have those yin and yang elements.
Yeah.
And, if someone doesn't text me back or doesn't call back
Sure.
and we run into each other 6 months later, I don't assume that there was ill intent, right? Like,
Right.
I get anxiety over texting and calling, and it's just part of life. And it
Wow.
doesn't mean they don't want to talk to you. And
Right.
same thing from me. If you haven't heard from me in 2 years and we
Mhm.
run into each other, I'm gonna still think you're my friend and treat you as such. And I think people appreciate that, and it goes a long way. And also, I tell people that.
Okay.
You don't have to
Cool.
respond to my
That's
text. I
nice.
get the anxiety, and they're like, "Oh, I actually appreciate that."
Yeah.
Ooh, deep thoughts with Eric.
Yes.
A new subset of our podcast. There we go. We're coming right to the end of our session, so we'd love to thank Eric for coming. We want to hear from you.
Yes. What makes you a good friend?
Yeah, write to us. Hooking up with Jordan and Ron at gmail.com.
Yeah. Can people post comments in the group?
They can. They can.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's a group called Hooking Up with Jordan and Ron. Come join us. Share it with your friends. Like and share, right? You know?
Yes.
We are in the process of setting up a webpage. You'll be able to connect there as well. It'll have our podcasts. It'll have a place to chat, and it'll have a place for texting and copies of email and all that kinds of cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. But for now, email us. Let us know what makes you a good friend. Hooking up with Jordan and Ron at gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye.